Two girls, Goria and Hana, are seen eating together in their college cafeteria. Goria came from a lower middle-class family and earned a scholarship to attend this elite school. The other girl, Hana, has just moved from the USA and is new to the school. Hana finishes her meal early and stands up from her chair. She mistakenly spills her food on a rich boy's shoes. This rich boy is Time, who is from the most influential business family in Thailand. He is also the head of the popular F4 group. Hana tries to apologize to him, but instead of forgiving her, he makes fun of her and degrades her. He asks her to lick the food off his shoes. Then he might accept her apology. Goria can't take this anymore. So she stands up from her chair and bangs her hands on the table in frustration. She takes a stand for Hana and confronts Time. Goria tells Time it's enough and that he shouldn't be doing this. He should accept Hana's apology and shouldn't degrade her anymore. Time mocks her too, and then he leaves with his group at that moment. Later, Goria finds a red card in her locker. Time left it there. Actually, the red card allows the bullying of a certain student who gets it from the F4. The F4 is a group that contains Time, Ren, MJ, and Kaning. All four of these belong to the most influential families of Thailand. Everyone starts spreading the news in their groups about Goria's red card. Later, she is seen being bullied by all the other students due to the card. They make her fall to the ground, and Goria starts having flashbacks of a boy who had previously received a red card. He was beaten and bullied by students in an old stadium where there were no CCTV cameras. This boy's name was Fufa, and he tried to expose the F4's red card game. It was headed by Time, the boy Goria confronted this time. Back in the present, Goria is seen being bullied, with water falling on her, making her all wet. She is being bullied the same way as the earlier students who got red cards. All the students were enjoying watching her being bullied. They took off her shoe and made her run for it, taking her out of the school premises. They made her run until she reached the old stadium, where Time and other F4 members were already present. Time takes her shoe and slashes it with a sharp knife. Later, he throws it in a barrel containing stinky water. Goria walks toward the barrel, all tired, and takes her shoe from the barrel. She puts it on. Watching this, everyone laughs at her, saying she's going to stink. Time approaches Goria, smirking, but she surprises him by kicking him hard in the stomach. Time falls to the ground, and Goria sits on him, grabbing him by his collar. She makes it clear that she won't give up easily. She will fight back. Time is shocked and impressed by her resolve. Later on, Time is seen at home, frustrated by the earlier incident. He is attending dinner with his mom, whose name is Roslyn. She is the head of the most influential business group in Thailand, the Panamara Group. His mom is very strict and scolds him at the dining table, stating that if he can't handle this small red card game at school, how will he control affairs in their family business? Hearing this, the maid accidentally spills some wine on the table. At this point, Roslyn fires the maid immediately. Watching this, Time becomes stressed and frustrated. He goes out for a drive, and someone takes over his vehicle. He takes all his anger out on those guys in a road rage incident and beats them severely. The next day, when Goria reaches her doorstep, she is being watched by a certain black van. A few men get out of the van and can be seen forcing Goria into the van. The van door opens, and Time is seen sitting inside. Clearly, he is behind this kidnapping. Goria is taken to Time's house, and surprisingly, she is well taken care of. Her makeup is done, and she is made to wear a pretty dress and expensive ornaments. Then she is left in a living room by two of the maids. Goria looks at herself in the mirror, and deep down she feels good and likes her new makeover. Meanwhile, Time arrives and tosses a new Mercedes car key to Goria. Time tells her that she can take all of this, but the only condition is that she has to make a public apology for what she did earlier to Time. Goria finds this really absurd and kicks him right between his legs in an attempt to get out of Time's house. Although Time is in pain, he tries his best to stop her. Nevertheless, he fails in this attempt, and Goria leaves. Later, Time is sitting in a room with all the F4 members. He is trying to release his frustration about the earlier incident by playing games. His friends tease him, saying he is still thinking about Goria, but he denies it and leaves the room in anger. Time is having a night ride when he catches Ren and Goria together. Ren is a member of the F4 group and is also a childhood friend of Time. Ren is standing before an LED advertising mirror when Goria sees him. Mira is a supermodel and an idol for Goria. She has been Ren's best friend since childhood, apart from F4. Goria approaches Ren and thanks him for saving her during the bullying session. Actually, Ren was the only one trying to save Goria from the bullying she was getting due to the red card. Time watches all this and thinks Ren is getting close to Gorya. The following day, Gorya and her best friend Conning are standing at the door of a big mansion. Conning is Gorya's childhood friend, and they also work together at a flower shop. This mansion belongs to Mira, and it is her return party. Gorya and her friend were invited to the party by Gorya's 3 mischievous classmates. They pretended they were inviting Gorya as an apology for bullying her. But when Gorya arrives at the mansion, she learns that it was all pre-planned to take revenge for Time's insult. The girls start tweeting on social media that Gorya is following Time, and that's why she has come here too. Meanwhile, F4 is seen entering the hall. Gorya doesn't want them to see her, so she leaves the hall and is seen alone by the pool. Gorya is standing by the pool when a guest mistakes her for a waitress and hands her a plate. Her classmates start making fun of her. Meanwhile, Ren can be seen accompanying Mira. Watching this, Gorya's classmates start taunting her, saying that she can never get Ren because he is already in a relationship with Mira. Watching this, Gorya has flashbacks of how Ren saved her earlier from bullying, once on the terrace when girls were looking for her, and later in the basement where some boys were bullying her. Gorya snaps out of these flashbacks, but the girls are still bullying her, and this time, they cross all limits and spill food on her dress. Time arrives at the scene and offers Gorya his napkin. Watching all this, Mira gives the girls a taste of their own medicine and spoils their dresses with a champagne bottle. This surprises the girls and they fall into the pool. Mira takes Gorya with her to her room upstairs while everyone laughs and records the girls who fell in the water. Mira offers Gorya a new pair of shoes as a gift, saying she should accept them as good shoes take people to good places. She gives her a makeover. Time and all the other people are shocked as Gorya comes downstairs. Gorya moves towards Ren, happily showing him her dress. Ren asks her for a dance, but watching all this, Time remembers how Gorya kicked him and how she denied all the gifts he was offering her. So Time gets frustrated seeing this and pushes Ren, saying why he is supporting her while he gives her the red card. Mira tries to calm him down, but he pushes her too. This makes Ren angry, and he forcefully pushes Time, causing Time to fall to the ground. In return, Time gets up and throws a punch at Ren's face. Both quarrel furiously. Gorya tries to stop them, but instead she falls on Time and accidentally kisses him. Everyone is shocked to watch this. It is Time's first kiss, and he feels shy and good at the same time, running away from the place. Gorya is in shock after all this. The next day, Time is sitting by the poolside with his friends, eating yogurt and thinking that the kiss might have been intentional. His friends tease him that it was his first kiss yesterday, and he is already in love with Gorya. He denies that it wasn't his first kiss, but deep down, he knows it was his first kiss, and he loved it too. Gorya gets on the bus as it arrives. She sits in the last seat and notices Time is already there. She asks him why he's on the bus, and he replies that he just thought of taking the bus today and asks why he can't. Gorya becomes suspicious and asks why the bus is empty today, even though it's usually crowded. She questions whether Time bought all the tickets. Time confirms he did. Gorya becomes infuriated and starts arguing with him. She says all the citizens who use this bus will be late because of him. She tries to leave, but Time stops her. Suddenly, the bus is halted by a car, and Time falls onto the bus floor. Gorya asks the driver to open the door and runs out. Time follows, but is kicked in the stomach by a woman, none other than Time's sister, Tia. Tia is Time's older sister, and her marriage has been done forcefully by her mother, so she wants Time to marry by his own consent. She orders Time to be quiet and consoles Gorya. Tia offers Gorya a ride to school as an apology for the mess caused by her brother. Later, Mira asks Ren how he feels about Gorya. Mira thinks Ren is falling for Gorya, but he denies it. Instead, he asks Mira about her plans for the future. Ren is more interested in Mira, but is shocked to hear that she is moving to France. She is doing all this to follow her own path. Mira and F3 come to say goodbye to Mira at the airport. Ren arrives at the airport too, but he's too late. Mira has already left. Ren says he is not late, as he has also bought tickets and will follow Mira. Ren says Gorya made him understand how to face challenges. Watching his childhood friend Ren leave, Time becomes angry and emotional because Ren hasn't informed them about this. He says he hasn't yet apologized for what happened at Mira's party, but Ren says he has forgiven him. Time becomes emotional and starts crying on Ren's shoulder, asking him not to leave. MJ and Kevin, the other 2 members of F4, tease Time, who then chases after them. The remaining F3 and Gorya wave to Time as his plane departs. Later, Time plans to ask Gorya out on a date. He publicly invites Gorya on a date via a television channel. He specifies the date, time, and place. Gorya is surprised and thinks it's a prank. Instead of going to the place Time mentioned, She goes out with her friend Conning. They visit the market to get Conning's phone repaired. While shopping, they watch an old interview with Time, in which he is asked what type of girl he would date. Gloria and Conning laugh, wondering who would date him. It gets late and starts raining. But suddenly, Gloria remembers Time. She tells Conning she has an important task and needs to go. Gloria grabs her umbrella and runs toward the place Time chose to meet. When she arrives, Time is still standing there in the rain. Time waits for Gloria because he thinks she is worth waiting for. As Gloria sees Time, she approaches him and offers Time her umbrella. He throws it away, yelling at her that he doesn't wait for anyone. People wait for him. He asks why she is so late when he announces the time and date so clearly. Gloria asks how she would know it isn't a prank and runs after him. They start their date, as it is already late. Time catches a cold due to the rain, and Gloria offers Time her towel. They are running here and there and pushing each other like kids. Also, they keep teasing each other a lot. They reach a Ferris wheel, and Gloria forces Time to get on it. He gets on it, but it turns bad. He kept vomiting all the time they got off the Ferris wheel. Gloria feels sorry for Time and says dinner is on her. They reach a restaurant, but after reading the prices on the menu, Gloria gets him out of that restaurant. She rants that it's too expensive for her. She takes him into a room and tries to explain to him that with the price of one dish, her whole family can eat. Soon they realize they were mistakenly locked in that room. Both of them tried to call for help, but no one answered. Their phones were dead too. Time leans forward on Gloria. She thought Time was trying to kiss her, so she pushed Time. He hit the wall and he was suffering from a high fever. Time rests on Gloria's lap. She makes him take medicine, although he said he only takes prescribed medication. She also checks his pulse, and both are seen giggling. Both of them fall asleep in this position. Later the next day at school, someone posted pictures of Time kissing Gloria on the notice board. Seeing all this, F3 takes Gloria and Hana with them to the cafeteria. There, Kevin asks her if she really likes Ren, and Time jumps in, saying this is making her uncomfortable. Following this, Gloria rants about how she got a cold from Time yesterday. This created more confusion. She left that place, taking Hana with her, but Time shouts and asks her to take her medicine on time to tease her. When F3 is alone, Kevin and MJ ask Time if he is serious about Gloria. They also make him realize that Time's mother will never agree to this. They also remind him of his sister Tia's forced marriage to his mom. Later on, Kevin and MJ invite Caning to Kevin's place. MJ tells her they have invited her here to talk about Gloria and Time. They offer her a sweet to eat, but Caning taunts them that she can't eat this anywhere else because it is too expensive. They make her realize that F4 and Gloria's worlds are really different from each other. Their lives have already been planned, and it should be best that Gloria stays away from Time. Caning was hurt to hear all this. In the end, Kevin gives her his contact card if she has to contact him. Cunning transfers the sweet money right away and confronts both of them. She advises them not to go behind the backs of their friends. Instead of this, they should have trust in them. Cunning leaves there, and Kevin receives a message from the bank stating that Cunning has transferred money to his account. Both MJ and Kevin are impressed by this act. Leaving from there, Cunning also receives her bank account details. It stated she had a low balance in her account after the earlier transaction. After this, Time reaches Gloria's house with some medicine. Her parents are shocked to see this at first, but later, they invite him for dinner. Time notices Gloria was right earlier, and her whole family is eating good food for just $490. They were having fun chit-chatting at the dinner table. Time loved the food, and he enjoyed their company a lot. The next day, Gloria reaches her school. She hears the news of her pictures as a bar girl being displayed on the notice board. Everyone is taunting her. Time reaches the scene, and he is shocked to see all those pictures. Time can be seen at a party drinking. MJ has arranged this party for him to console him. Soon, Hana arrives at the club too and tries to persuade him. She mixed something in his drink and made him drink it. Time drinks it, although MJ is observing all this from a distance, but soon he loses them as he gets distracted. Hana takes Time into a room and gets him onto the bed. She takes control of his phone too. As she tries to kiss Time, he mumbles Gloria's name, and this makes her frustrated. Hana has loved Time since childhood, but as she was ugly, he never loved her. Hana underwent plastic surgery and returned to school. She wanted Time, and that's why she bumped into him the first day. Gloria took away all the limelight while trying to save Hana. She is ready to take revenge on Gloria and texts from Time's phone that Gloria has still got the red card. Students start bullying Gloria again in the school as soon as they receive the text. They were planning all of this in the school text group. Soon, Time wakes up and remembers nothing. He asks Hana how he got into the room. Hana tells him she loves him and has been studying him for a long time. No one can love him like she does. Time doesn't listen to her and gets out of the room. As soon as he sees the Ferris wheel, he remembers Goria and finds out that everyone is bullying her near the stadium. Goria is seen getting bullied near the stadium. Even her friend's scooter, which she borrowed, is being set on fire. Time reaches the scene and saves her from all this mess and carries her in his arms. Goria starts crying in Time's arms and can be seen taken away from the sight by Time. Time secretly takes Goria to his house and asks the maid not to tell anyone that she's in Time's room. He sits with her and takes care of her. He asks Goria to let him dress her wounds. While doing so, she gets hurt and shouts at Time. Time apologizes and asks her if he can do it nicely this time. The next day at school, some girls are trying to approach Goria, but Time appears on the scene and announces publicly that Goria is now his girlfriend officially. Those girls become shocked hearing this, and even Goria herself is surprised, asking when this happened. Time tells her that yesterday, when she was at his house sleeping in his lap, he asked Goria if she would be his girlfriend, and she agreed. Goria starts beating him there again, but they are stopped when Ren returns from abroad and appears on the scene. Goria is shocked to see Ren return. Ren has returned from France and he approaches Goria. As he approaches her, he tries to get close to her, but is stopped by Time. Time tells Ren that he is dating Goria now, and Ren shouldn't be getting so close to her. Ren seems to want to talk to Goria, but Time calls him to let's go out somewhere. F4 leaves from there. Ren has changed a lot and is seen getting close to some other girls too. Goria catches Ren on the terrace and tells Ren that she is not dating Time. It's just confusion. Ren asks her to let's date behind Time's back, and Goria is taken aback listening to that. But Ren covers this up, saying he is joking. Later on, all the students gather in the school auditorium for some important announcements. But instead of that, Time appears on the stage, taking the microphone from the teacher. He asks Goria why she isn't responding to his texts and calls. Actually, Goria's phone has broken down. That's why she can't reply to Time. Time asks Goria to get down and meet him outside right now on the microphone. Goria seems pretty frustrated by all this. Later, they meet outside the auditorium, and Time shows her how many times he has called her since yesterday. Goria tells him that her phone is broken, so he takes out a new phone and asks her to take it. Goria tries not to take it, but Time insists that he wants to remain connected to her, so she should take it. At last, he tells her that he will be leaving it here on the ground, and anyone can take it if she doesn't take it. Watching all this, Goria has to take the phone. Goria is with her boss in conning, and she is showing them all the stickers Time keeps sending to her. Moreover, Goria tells them that she is hesitant to go out with Time on a second date. So Conning advises her that she should ask Time to go out on a double date with Conning, her boyfriend Tesla, and Goria to the zoo. Goria calls Time and tells him about this. He doesn't agree at first, but later on, he calls her on video and asks Goria to call him cool and make meow faces for him to make him go with her. Following this, Time reaches Ren's house to get his advice on what he should wear on his date with Goria. He has a lot of options and is being confused between them. Time tries to ask Ren about what happened to him in France, but Ren refuses to answer and starts looking for shirts for Time. As Ren goes to look for shirts, Time finds Goria's phone on his sofa. Ren tells Time that Goria had mistakenly dropped this phone when they met last time. Ren was going to get it to Time and return it to her. Time is hurt deep down, knowing that Goria has met Ren. Time reaches the zoo, and Goria asks him not to fight today and behave well. Soon, Caning and Tesla will arrive at the zoo too. Tesla was not easy to handle, as he was an overconfident and outspoken man. He was constantly trying to tease Time, but Time was remaining calm and taking all his anger out on a stuffed toy. Time tells Goria that he knows she isn't his girlfriend, but he is still looking forward to making Goria his girlfriend. He is doing all this for her, and they take a selfie to keep the memory of this date. Time overhears Tesla talking on the phone, saying that he is not serious with Conning and is just playing with her. But her friend Goria is a fine lady, and he wished he had met her earlier. After hearing this, Time gets really angry at Tesla and throws a punch right in his face. Goria gets there to stop the fight and blames Time for all this mess. She doesn't listen to Time and asks him to leave right away. Later on, Time can be seen at the poolside, throwing chairs in the pool in frustration. MJ and Kevin throw him in the pool to cool down a bit. Then Kevin tries to explain to him that relationships don't work this way, and he has to try to keep Goria close to him. Kevin further says that Time should talk to her so that he can explain what really happened that day. Following this, Time catches Ren and Goria on the terrace. He is observing both of them from a distance. Ren opens up to Goria about what happened in France. Ren tells Goria that when he gets to France, he will surprise Mira, and she will be really happy. But after spending time with her there, he came to realize that his and Mira's worlds were really different. Moreover, he learned that she was dating another man there. This really broke him down, and he left France. He also left his beloved diary there too. Ren breaks into tears and tells Goria that he is of no use. No one loves him, and he can't even have that person in his life whom he loved the most. Goria interrupts him, saying this is not true. She tells him he was the only one who helped her when she was being bullied, and breaks down in tears, so he matters a lot to her, and she really likes him. During all this, they hug each other, and Time becomes infuriated watching all this. Time is seen infuriatingly walking downstairs. He passes MJ and Kevin without even listening to them. He walks past two boys in the hallway and overhears them, saying how cool it is to play with someone's feelings. Hearing this makes Time angrier, and he starts throwing punches in their faces. The remaining F4 and Goria reach the scene, and Goria yells at Time to stop fighting. Time confronts Ren, stating that Ren is no longer part of F4 and that it's just F3. MJ and Kevin try to stop him, but Time doesn't listen to them and leaves for his home. MJ and Kevin follow Time to his home, but he doesn't let them into his room. Moreover, he asks his servants not to let these two people ever enter his house again. Kevin loses his calm after hearing all this from Time and is going to leave his house, but MJ punches the wall in frustration and asks Kevin to talk to Ren, saying that he will handle Time himself. Kevin agrees to this, but he says if this doesn't work, they have to part ways from now on. Later, in search of Ren, Kevin goes to the flower shop where he finds Caning. He asks Caning about Ren, and she tells him that Ren and Goria have left for a date. He asks Caning to call Goria and ask her to come to a mall. So Kevin and Caning also reach the mall, and Kevin notices that Caning is texting someone. Kevin guesses that she is trying to get his boyfriend Tesla back again. He asks Caning about Tesla. Further, he advises her that these boys only like to play with girls' emotions. Caning denies it, saying Tesla is not like others. Suddenly, she sees Tesla hanging with another girl in the mall, and it breaks her down in tears. Kevin tries to console her and teases her by taking her pictures while she is in tears. Kevin says he will help her take good revenge on him. So by acting on the plan, Kevin enters the shop where Tesla and his new girl are already present. The new girl is asking Tesla to buy her a bag, so Kevin buys all the bags in the shop. Kevin pretends he has bought all this for her. She was a greedy girl too, and left Tesla right away for Kevin. Although Tesla tries to stop her, she scolds him, saying that he has no right to her. Kevin gets out of the shop and offers all the bags to Caning. He announced in front of Tesla that he had bought all this for Caning. Watching all this, Tesla becomes really frustrated. He starts saying that he knows the other F4 member, Time, too, and that you guys are all after these cheap girls. He further says F4 has no standards when choosing a girl, and Time fought him too for that, Goria. Listening to all this, Kevin is ready to take him down, but out of nowhere, Goria appears and kicks him to the ground. Goria says she has listened to the entire conversation and announces Time is her boyfriend. Tesla has no right to talk about Time like this. She runs away from the scene, leaving Ren behind. Following this, Ren calls Time to meet him at the old stadium. All four of the F4 gather there, and before Ren can say anything, Time says Ren can keep Goria. Time pretends Goria is just a normal girl for him, and he doesn't want to fight over a girl with his childhood friend. Hearing this, Ren starts talking foully about Goria, which causes Time to start throwing punches in Ren's face. But Ren doesn't stop talking ill about Goria. Actually, he was doing all this to pull out Time's true feelings for Goria. MJ tries to stop them from fighting, but instead he gets a punch from Time too, resulting in all four of them fighting each other with all their might. When all of them are really exhausted from fighting, Ren discloses how his date with Goria went. He tells Time that Goria was only talking about him all the time and was smiling every time she took his name. He also tells Time how she accepted Time as her boyfriend in the mall and kicked Tesla in his stomach. Time yells at Ren and asks him why he is doing all this. Ren tells Time he wants to make Time understand how he really feels about Goria. Time should settle all the disputes with her. Goria reaches the old stadium, and seeing all four of them in this condition, she beats them for fighting each other. Later, Goria and Time are left alone to settle all the differences between them. Goria dresses Time's wounds and apologizes to him for not trusting him. Time also confesses that he was not a good guy before and that Goria has changed him. He hugs her, saying he will end all this red card bullying in the school. After this, Goria happily reaches her home in the morning, but as soon as she enters her house, she sees a lady sitting in the living area. She is none other than Time's mother, Rosalind. Goria is shocked to see Rosalind in her house. Goria greets her and asks her right away why she has come here. Rosalind degrades Goria by saying how small her house is and how much it stinks. Rosalind asks how they are surviving in such conditions. Rosalind asks Goria how much money she will need to get out of Time's life, saying they are no match for each other. Rosalind offers Goria a huge amount of money, but this makes Goria angry. Goria replies that she was never after Time, and it was Time who proposed to her. Rosalind keeps increasing the money, but it only makes Goria more infuriated. She says a relationship is not something that can be bought with money and that Rosalind can't buy her. Rosalind advises Goria that this is all her ego, and ego doesn't fill the stomach, so she should take the money. Both of them are in a never-ending bitter conversation until Goria's mom loses her cool, stands up, and confronts Rosalind. She says she is proud of her daughter's dignity, which no one can buy. Her mother also questions how Rosalind can just throw money around as if she's going to buy her daughter. She further says that everyone should be treated equally. Hearing this, Rosalind taunts that she and Goria can never be equal. As soon as she hears this, Goria's mother throws fish sauce on Rosalind's face and asks Rosalind to get out of her house. Rosalind's secretary can be seen offering her his handkerchief, but she denies it. She stands up and tells Goria she was just here to help them. Pointing towards the packed bags, she says she thought they needed help. As Rosalind leaves, Goria's mother starts panicking with joy, thinking about how she could be so brave to do all this to Rosalind. But all her family members boost her morale, saying she has done a good job. Later, Goria's father gets Goria's attention and discloses that he has been fired from his job. All her family members have to move to their village, except Goria. They are thinking of pursuing farming to make a living there. Actually, Rosalind is behind all this. She got Goria's father fired to create a need for money and then tried to offer them money to fulfill her demands. As soon as Time learns of this, he confronts his mother, asking why she is doing all this to Goria. He also deduced that his mother was behind Goria's father's dismissal and that she was not doing right. Later on, Goria, on her way back home, suspects someone is following her, so she tries to kick him. But it is Time. Actually, Time has moved into the neighborhood of Goria. He heard the news of recent burglaries in the neighborhood and wants to ensure Goria is safe. But instead of making Goria's life easier, Time makes it difficult for her. As he is new to household chores, he keeps calling Goria every time he runs into a mess. Whether it's a pipe drainage issue, doing laundry, or burning clothes with an iron, Time is always calling her for all of this, and it makes Goria stressed out. MJ, Kaveen, and Ren are gathered at Time's new house. They want to see how Time's new lifestyle feels. They are enjoying noodles in front of the television. Later, Goria receives Time's birthday party invitation. She arrives at the venue looking really pretty in her dress. Although the first person she bumps into is none other than Rosalind, both of them exchange some words there too, but soon Goria finds F3. They cheer her up, and Kevin carries her so that Time can notice her. As soon as Time notices her, he comes to welcome her to his birthday party. Time praises her for looking so pretty, but suddenly Rosalind grabs their attention as she is going to announce something on stage. Everyone is attentive towards the stage, and out of nowhere, a girl comes running and lands flat on Goria. She is none other than Lita. Lita is the daughter of a multimillionaire businessman, and Rosalind announces that she is going to be married to her son Time. As soon as Time hears this, he runs towards his mom, yelling how she can do this to him. She orders her guards to get Time, but MJ tosses his car keys towards him, and Time runs towards Goria to grab her hand. But instead of grabbing her hand, he mistakenly grabs Lita's hand and takes her with him. It is in the car that he realizes he has taken Lita with him, not Goria. Goria is seen running downstairs. Time, who's getting out of the lift, sees her and stops her there. He wants to talk about the engagement night incident, but instead of apologizing to her, he blames her. This doesn't go well, and she kicks him between his legs. Consequently, he falls to the ground. Later, both of them are eating at Goria's house, but she seems pretty worried about Time's engagement news. But Time insists on disclosing his birthday gift, and Goria gives him his gift. Those were homemade cookies featuring Time's face. Goria made them herself. Time wakes Ren up and shows him how magnificent those cookies Goria has made for him are. He was showing him those cookies, but Ren was asleep and bit one of them off mistakenly. Time fights with him like a kid for doing this. Later on, both are seen talking about the news, which is ongoing right now. It is the death of the wealthiest businessman in Thailand. This news seems really important to the business world, as it will have its effects on big businesses like Time's mother. Time is traveling to attend the funeral of that businessman. Goria and Koenig are assigned to provide flowers for the funeral ceremony, and Cavan explains to them why business is so important at this moment. Everyone in the F4 is coming to pay their respects to the dead with their families, but Time has to attend the farewell with Lita, as her mom is abroad. Goria becomes worried and sad, watching Time and Lita get close. She provides catering services at the funeral, too. Time watches her walk away and wants to follow her, but notices a cut on Lita's foot, so he takes her away with him to get some rest on chairs. Lita is seen teasing MJ and Cavan there. Later, Time talks with Lita about calling off this engagement as he loves someone else and can't marry her. After the funeral, Lita and Goria sit together, and Lita tells Goria she wants to know what love is before marrying Time. Lita also confesses that Time's sweet gesture of taking care of her has already made her fall in love with him. Goria is worried hearing all this. Following this, when Goria reaches her home, she finds Time sleeping in the yard. He wanted to bid farewell to her brother. She wakes him up, and they get inside and are ready to eat the noodles that he has brought for them. But Goria can be seen constantly typing to someone on her phone. When Time asks her what she is up to, Goria tells him he should marry Lita, and that Lita loves him a lot. She thinks they are made for each other, and moreover, Lita is cute. Time is shocked to hear all this and takes her outside to talk. There, Time asks her what the matter is and why she is saying all this. He is trying his best to call off this engagement. Goria breaks down in tears, saying it's really difficult for both of them, and their worlds are really different from each other. Moreover, Time would not have to take this much pain for her. If he agrees to marry Lita, it will be so much easier for him. A black van appears in the back, and Time's guards are here to take him back to his house. Actually, Goria herself informed them about Time, and Time yelled at her, asking why she had done so. The guards take Time forcefully with them, and Goria turns her back on him and is in tears. After being heartbroken by Goria, Time has come to see Lita at her home. He asks her to be his girlfriend. Lita agrees to it. Later on, both can be seen kissing each other on the college grounds. Goria becomes sad watching all this, while all the others are surprised. But Goria leaves the place before she can see Time pushing Lita away from him, asking her why she did so. On the other hand, Lita was pretty excited and happy after kissing Time and said to him that this is normal for couples. She further says he should be getting used to it. Going back in time when Time actually asked Lita to be his girlfriend, she seemed pretty suspicious that Time was not serious. Moreover, she thought he must be pulling a prank on her. This news spread like wildfire, and girls try to bully Goria after hearing it. A guy saves her by dropping some books. This is Talai. He is here actually to take revenge on Time. He wants to avenge his brother Fufa, who was bullied by F4 because he was trying to expose their red card game. Talai wants to use Goria to take revenge on Time, and that's why he is trying to get close to her. Goria asks him if he has a part-time job for her. Talai tells her she can help him with the deliveries and that she can be his delivery wife. Later, Talai pulls Goria close to him and says she can be his wife in real life too, but Talai says this as a joke. Goria agrees to the job and starts working with Talai as a delivery girl. Lita wakes Time up and takes him to the mall with her. There, he finds Goria coincidentally. Time tries to talk to her, but Talai appears in the scene, and they both start pushing each other. Goria asks Time to stay out of her business and takes Talai with her. Time follows them to the parking lot, where he and Talai exchange words with each other. Talai is constantly trying to provoke Time to hit him, but when Talai fails to do so, he throws his glasses away and falls on the ground himself. Actually, Talai is trying to act innocent in front of Goria, and Time becomes infuriated watching all this. Goria arrives at the scene with security and watches Time push Talai. Goria tries to stop the fight and slaps Time in the face, telling him to get lost. She mistakes Time as the culprit in this scenario. Time, being angry, throws the cookies gifted by Goria in the dustbin. Later on, Goria finds a red cardigan in her locker. She is seen being bullied again, and it starts with lockers being dropped on her. They are successful in getting her to the old stadium. She gets a punch right in the face and falls to the ground, unconscious. Ren reaches her at that moment and rescues her. He warns all the students there that if something serious happens to her, he will not forgive them. Ren takes Goria to her car and is on a call with MJ. MJ is just going to tell him that Talai is behind all this, but before he can hear all this, Talai knocks him out cold. Later, Time receives a text from Talai saying if he wants to see Goria alive, he should come to the pin location and come all alone. Time dashes through people to get to Goria. Later, it can be seen that Gorya is bound to a chair and kept captive by Talai. Talai tells Gorya the reason for taking revenge on Time. Talai tells Gorya he is the brother of Fufa, the boy who was bullied by F4 for trying to expose them. Since Fufa was bullied, his life changed from being a shining boy to not even being able to get out of bed himself. His father has spent all his money on his treatment, and that's why he went bankrupt. They have lost everything due to F4. Talai explains how he hacked the school's database, enrolled himself in school, and gathered an anti-F4 group. Soon, Time reaches the location where Gorya is being kept captive. Talai has given him a red card and wants Time to feel what Fufa felt when he was being beaten. Gorya tries to stop Talai, but he doesn't listen to her, and the boys keep beating Time. Time doesn't want to fight back, as he has accepted that it would be his moral defeat if he fought back. Time knows he has made a mistake, and he should bear all this now. Talai is going to hit Time with a chair, but at the last moment, Gorya becomes successful in setting herself free from the chair and covers Time. She gets the chair hit in her back and gets knocked out. Days later, Gorya wakes up in a hospital. Time, who understood his mistake, visited all the victims of the red card and apologized to them. Ren also visited the hospital where Fufa was being treated and apologized to Talai. Talai was still mad at them, but after all, he forgave them too. Later on, Time asked Gorya to visit him at his house to see the meteor shower with the help of his telescope. He thought it was the best moment to confess his love to Gorya again and gifted her a necklace on which both of their names were crafted. Time asked Gorya to be his girlfriend again, but she said she couldn't do this because Time is still in a relationship with Lita. Time holds his head in despair, wondering how he can forget that Lita is still her girlfriend. But he promises that he will soon call off his relationship with Lita. Time and Gorya sit beside each other, watching the sky. Later, they went to Time's bedroom, where Gorya mistook Time's intentions and thought he was going to do some naughty stuff with her. Gorya kicks him between his legs and fights him on his bed. As all of this is going on, Lita enters the room and asks what Gorya is doing there. Aunt Yu tries to cover the scene by saying Gorya is Time's personal maid. Aunt Yu is the head maid of Time's house, and she has been working here as a loyal servant for decades. Aunt Yu instructs Gorya to feed Time, and he teases her while she performs her duty. Ren teases Gorya too by clicking her picture while she feeds Time. MJ also finds this hilarious, but Gorya is worried about Caning being alone in the flower shop. MJ tells her not to worry, as he has sent Cavan to help Caning with the chores at the shop. Later on, Cavan and Caning can be seen together outside the flower shop. Cavan shows her how to make garlands. Caning and Cavan are getting closer while they spend time together. Later on, Lita visits Time's house and again catches Time and Gorya giggling together. She looks really frustrated watching all this. Time tells Lita they should go together to his mom and end this engagement, but she tells him she has already emailed her mom and asked her to move into Time's house from now on, and Time's mom has granted permission. Later in the room, Time asks Lita if she is doing all this just to win, but she says she loves him and wants to marry him. Furthermore, she adds that if Gorya comes in her way, she will ask her parents to destroy Gorya's life. Moving forward, she also offers herself to Time, being semi-naked, but Time covers her with a blanket and lets her pull him by his hand. Time also allows her to cry on his shoulder. After this, Lita asks Time if he knows the impact of canceling this engagement on their business and suggests that the best thing would be to marry as soon as possible, as her parents would suggest. The next day, they meet Lita's parents. Lita's father is a multi-millionaire and has good ties in business with Time's mother. Before Time can say a word, Lita interrupts him and starts ranting that Time is a really stubborn and childish guy. He can't take care of her and asks her parents to cancel this engagement. She cries on her father's shoulder, defining the qualities of a man she wants to marry. But actually, she is remembering the good times she spent with Time. Her father consoles her and agrees to her demand. In this way, she saved Time and took all the blame on herself. This results in canceling their engagement plans. Gorya is seen at Time's house. She commends Time for handling the situation really well, and both are happy that Time's engagement is now called off. Time rests in Gorya's lap on the couch, and she surprises him with a kiss. She promises to surprise him more in the future. Furthermore, Time asks her for a proper kiss, saying the earlier one doesn't count. So they kiss, and all the maids are seen overjoyed watching them. Later, when Gorya is walking back home, Ren is already present and tries to stop her from going further. But Gorya reaches her house and sees men taking all the things out. When she tries to stop them, a man tells her that Rosalind has returned and bought the land, so it is now a Parama Group property. Actually, Rosalind is trying to torture Gorya as much as she can in order to make her leave them for good. After this, Rosalind catches Aunt Yu and the other maids secretly moving Goria's belongings outside the house. Rosalind clearly shows her disappointment and says she didn't expect this from Aunt Yu, who has been working for her for so long. Watching all the support for Goria, Rosalind goes after everyone who supports her. Suited men are seen ransacking the flower shop where Goria works. Also, her friend Koenig receives a call that her father has been fired suddenly. Koenig's father used to work in the firm, and upon Rosalind's order, the firm fired him from his job. Moreover, Time's bank transactions are blocked, and it is rumored that he will be disowned by the Parama company. Rosalind is behind all this, as she wants to break all of Goria's support systems. After all this, Goria meets Rosalind and gives up, stating she is ready to leave Time for all of her friends' well-being. But she also says Time will never be the same as Rosalind wants him to be. Rosalind wants them to be selfish, self-centered, and bully-like in nature, so they can tackle all the hurdles. But Goria has changed Time, and he thinks about others now. He has also been bullied, and he is soft-hearted now. Hearing this, Rosalind emotionally blackmails her, claiming she is terminally ill and will die soon. She also shows Goria her fake medical reports. She makes Goria believe that for Time's well-being, he has to return to his old personality. Rosalind seems successful in getting Goria to believe her lies. Later, Goria meets Time, who is happy to see her and says she has changed him a lot and that he will run the Parama group with his new personality. He won't act selfishly like his mother wants him to. But as the rain starts, Goria suggests they should split and that she has taken a large check from her mom. Time doesn't believe her, but she keeps insisting that she is always after his money and knows he is childish and stupid. She tries to give him back his meteor locket, but he slaps it away. The locket falls near the drainage, and Time can be seen crying on the ground. Later, we see Goria at a train station, heading back to her village. She is doing all this to get away from Time's life forever. Aunt Yu has come to see her off and reminds Goria to believe in herself. She further advised Goria to know how strong Goria was inside. As Goria leaves for her village for good, there's no need for Rosalind's fake medical reports, and she burns them. Time has now become the person Rosalind always wanted him to be. He addresses a meeting and makes all decisions solely for the benefit of the Parama group, being selfish. And he doesn't even compensate for the loss of his partner. His sister Tia tries to rebuke him, wanting to make him realize that time with Goria was better than this. But all in vain. No one listens to her. Later, Ren is seen still looking for Goria, as they don't know her village name. Ren finds a clue about Goria and goes straight to Time. He tries to make him understand that if Goria had taken all the money from Rosalind, why would she be living a simple life in a village? But Time doesn't pay any heed to his talk, and they exchange a few blows. Due to this, Ren says he won't stay out of Goria and Time's relationship. Furthermore, Ren said he would try to approach and propose to Goria to be his girlfriend, moving forward to the day when Goria is going to meet Time. Actually, this has happened because of joint efforts from the F4 group. Ren has made it clear to Goria that Rosalind is not ill and that she only plays with her. On the other hand, MJ and Kevin made Time realize what her mother had done to Goria. So Time felt he was doing wrong earlier, being selfish, and presented in the meeting with a new plan. This plan intends to help the Parama partners in this difficult time, even though the Parama group gets less profit personally. Everyone commends Time's new plan. The meeting ends, and he rushes to see Goria, but passes by a familiar face and dashes back to check her mother's safety. The man was actually the one suffering from huge losses due to the selfish policies introduced by Time in the past and wanted revenge by stabbing Rosalind. As he goes to stab her, Time unexpectedly covers her and gets stabbed instead of Rosalind. Time is taken to the hospital, but Rosalind is still worried about her business and leaves Time in the hospital. Tia confronts Rosalind, saying this is not an accident. It all happened due to her wrongdoings, and she should be ashamed of herself. Moving back in time, Time has reached Goria's village. He sees people gathered around her house to ask for the money her aunt has swindled from these people. Ren pays them on behalf of Goria, and she promises him to pay back his money soon. Later, Ren and Goria are seen talking over a bridge. Ren proposes that Goria be his girlfriend, but she rejects him. This shows she is still in love with Time. Ren assesses the situation and makes her realize that Rosalind has cheated on her and that Rosalind is not ill. MJ and Kevin also made Time realize that Goria is innocent. Time can be seen crying over his friend's shoulder, confessing he is still in love with Goria. Goria, hearing this on the phone, can be seen in tears, and she agrees to travel back with Ren to get back into Time's life. Later, Time wakes up in the hospital but remembers nothing from the past 4 years, including Goria. Goria tries to meet him at the hospital, but he fails to recognize her. Later, in an attempt to make Time remember who Goria is, she secretly gets into his room and asks him to keep quiet. She shows him all their pictures from the zoo date and the stuffed toys he bought for her. But Time still denies recognizing her and says she is just an imposter, trying to be someone he knows. This angers Goria, and she kicks him in the stomach and grabs him by his collar in the same way she did the first day they met. This triggers some old memories in Time's mind, and Goria tries to make him remember all of it. But out of nowhere, Rosalind arrives and tells her suited men to remove Goria from the house and not let her in. Rosalind's mansion doors are closed in Goria's face, but she stands there, silently protesting against the injustice. Rosalind is moved by Goria's firm belief in her love. Watching Goria stand there in the rain melts Rosalind's heart. As Rosalind reaches downstairs and gets close to Goria, Time follows her but still can't recognize Goria and yells at her to get away from his house. As Time starts to leave, his gaze falls on the meteor locket, and he is hit with many memories of Goria. His mother shouts in joy that miracles do happen and orders the guards to open the gates. Time runs towards Goria and rests on her lap the same way he did the first time they got trapped in the room. Both of them are in tears of joy, and later Time posts a picture of them on social media. F3 sees it too and is really happy for both of them. Time runs all the kdrama business matters smoothly. Goria is about to complete her final year, and Time leaves for the USA to cover the losses Parama Group has suffered in the past. Goria sees Time off at the airport and says she will miss him. Rosalind and Tia are also content with Time and Goria now. 1 year later, Time surprises Goria at her prom night by paying her a visit. She dances with all the F4 members and has flashbacks of everything that has occurred in the past years. Starting with Ren, she remembers the first time he saved her, and also remembers seeing him off when he left for France. She remembers Hana and their last meeting. Moving on to MJ, she acknowledges how soft-hearted he is behind his mafia mask. She also recalls things about Kevin and his love life with Connie. She remembers the lovely moments spent with Time, too. At last, she reflects on the love of her life. Time from the first day they met to the bus fight and their times together, including Time saving her from bullies.